This is a continuation from the last chapter, chapter 2, what is astral projection? And it's going to continue on to the end of chapter 3, which is going to be the next chapter. Alright, so I'm going to just label this part 3, astral projection course. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so where was I at? I was at the CIA. Oh, I was going to go into a confirmation or self-realization I had. So, where was I at? I was at, alright, scientific proof of astral projection. December 1st, 2011, the CIA partly declassified a sanitized copy of a document of astral projection. During the Cold War, the traveler was tasked to journey to the USSR to locate a specific facility. They found it and gave the precise coordinates of its location. And I was going to say, there's a movie with I don't know what his name is, but the movie is basically a guy. I think it's called Source Code, and the guy is tasked to go on a train and locate a bomber. But it's not his physical body that's going to get it. So this kind of like is the same thing where it's like astral projecting to a location to find out information and bring it back to the physical realm to affect the physical realm. You know what I'm saying? Because he's on a train, and I think 8 minutes into the train ride, it blows up, and he has to find out where the bomber is, where the bomb is, and bring that information back to his physical body in order to stop another bombing from the same bomber. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that was deep, bro, because it's like, I just watched it. So it's like, it's all connecting, you know what I'm saying? I show you. So, the traveler also provided many valuable details about what it looked like on the outside. For example, they said there were dish antennas, helicopter pads, and other things on site. The traveler also learned that in addition to receiving the Soviet satellite downlink, the antennas were also used to intercept downlink from U.S. satellites. Now, for the moment of truth, the CIA went to find this facility, and they did, even though there were different numbers of dish antennas in various dimensions from what the traveler shared. They were all there, all the same. In another double-blind experiment, the CIA gave the traveler coordinates of a little island in the Indian Ocean occupied by the Soviets. The experimenters did not have this location on their map. They even thought that the traveler would encounter nothing but water until the subject began to draw a map on a large scale, needing more and more sheets of paper. When they were done, the CIA put all the sheets together, and what they found was a precise match of the island. It was such an accurate drawing that it also detailed the topography of the island. The traveler was also able to tell the CIA exactly what was going on over there. There are just two of the experiments. These are just two of the experiments with astral travel documented by the CIA. Do a quick search on Google about astral projection, and you'll find so many trying to discredit it, from those who say, well, it is both real and isn't real, to those who flat out stamp it as a pseudoscience not worthy of exploring. Actual astral projectors and travelers find the confidence with which naysayers dismiss the phenomenon to be mind-boggling at worst and hilarious at best. However, the skepticism is understandable, since this is one thing that a person needs to experience themselves to accept it as valid. Without personal experience, skeptics think of astral travelers as insane. If they're polite, they'll say something like, it's just the neurons in your brain doing neurony stuff. Cap. Suppose you're willing to go past page 1 of Google, or use a different search engine altogether, to dig into research that doesn't start out trying to disparage or disprove astral travel In that case, you'll find a lot of information that proves OBEs can be verified scientifically. Skeptics should consider that the scientific community deemed lucid dreams unreal until as recently as 4 decades ago. To, to look deeper into this phenomenon, you should check out books by Robert Monroe. Let me make sure I ain't skipped none. Until decades ago. To look deeper into this phenomenon, you should check out books by Robert Monroe, Robert Bruce. Robert Bruce has a book called Astral Dynamics. I've read that, and it's alright. It's like it gives you techniques on how to like get into that mind relaxation state to where your physical body is fully relaxed. That's what he stresses the most. Robert Bruce in Astral Dynamics is the main and the most important part of astral traveling and lucid dreaming is physical relaxation. If you can get in that physical relaxed state, you can do anything beyond your body as long as your mind is awake. You know what I'm saying? Here, Ward, Carrington, Oliver Fox, Sylvan Modone, and Graham Nichols. These pioneers are why modern-day astral travelers have made such great strides in their discoveries about the astral realm and the mechanics of leaving the body. Moreover, they were unafraid to explore this fringe matter during times when conventional science and religion were even less accepting of taboo subjects like this than they are now. Hence, we owe them a world of gratitude. Mind is key. I have already touched on this subject before, but it's so vital that it bears repeating. Your mental habits and ability to control your mind will significantly serve you when you begin astral travel. Here's why you need to keep your mind in mind, so to speak, before you start your journey. You must mentally accept that you can leave your body. I mentally accept I can leave my body. It is there, it is now, it is here. I say, I accept it. If you don't buy into this, you're simply making the process a lot more complicated. Ask yourself why you're fighting the idea. It could be a result of fears that you have about the phenomenon. Those fears will be addressed soon enough. Once you understand what you're getting into, you will know there's no reason to be afraid. Your mind will be more receptive. You need to realize that many of the horror stories you read about astral travel resulted from the state of mind that the projectors were in. Fearful minds attract experiences to be afraid of. Remember that. You must be in the right frame of mind when you project. For example, suppose you've had a terrible day at work. In that case, you're stressed out, anxious about something, feeling angry or hateful. You shouldn't be traveling to the astral plane in that state of mind. There's a big chance that everything you encounter in the astral world will be of a low energy vibration, which means more frightening experiences for you to contend with. When this happens, the odds you'll never want to project again and your mind will run with that and always shut it down no matter what. Honestly, if I have like a so-called terrifying experience astral projecting, I still would want to like have that happen because it's still an experience. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it's more fuel for your alchemy, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your mind is the chief way you can control things in the astral world. Forget about physics. Your mind is the way you move and determines your experiences. Think about flying and you're doing it. Want to go somewhere? Think of being there, and there you are. Think of seeing someone, and there they are. So if it only makes sense that when you encounter scary-looking beings, letting your mind feast on fear will make everything worse. In summary, your mind's job is to help you realize you can project. It's also supposed to help you relax enough to allow the phenomenon to happen and keep you in control of your reactions and impulses in the astral. Another thing is that most first-time travelers get so excited at seeing their bodies that they're drawn right back in before they can explore. It's understandable to be excited, but you want to keep that in check and remain calm. The way to do that is to rehearse the whole trip in your mind. See it through from start to finish, refining details and whatever details you must. The more you imagine seeing your sleeping form, the less noble it will be when you finally do leave your body. If you don't get sucked right back in, that gives you more time to get used to your astral surroundings and execute your plan with no pressure at all. A meditation that I do to help um, gain more confidence in my astral form is I'll meditate on I'll lay down flat on my back on the bed and I'll meditate and just watch my body. You know what I'm saying? I'll sit down and literally just watch my body, and as I breathe in, I'll see my body, my belly coming up, and then I'll see it go down. But I'm watching it, you know what I'm saying? And the more time you spend in that area, the more you're sending your awareness into that area, you know what I'm saying? Free game though. Um, what was that? Oh, chapter 3. What to expect? We're in chapter 3. So you want to go on an astral adventure? Well, it's only fitting that you should know what you're getting into and what to expect on your journey. Message! Vibrations. Most experienced astral projectors can tell you about the vibrations. When it's your first time experiencing them, they can feel quite disturbing. As I described before, it feels like you're being electrocuted, but there's no pain. The vibrations are simply very intense when they come. When you start to feel the vibrations, it's best to allow them to do their thing and keep your mind as calm as possible. I actually had this experience 3 days ago. I was smoking and I got super high, and I lay down just to lay down, you know what I'm saying? And I was taking deep breaths, I was like, and I was doing that for as long as I could, and it was I had an overwhelming energy of being more than my physical body, and it was I could feel that I was about to leave my body, but it was that excitement right there, that excitement is a real thing that she just spoke on. You get the excitement and you get the feeling of starting to leave your body, because there's a lot of energy in your astral body. Basically, everything your physical body does is a section of the energy that your astral body has, fully. You know what I'm saying? So it's all that energy coming through at once. It's you get excited. You breathing out, and oh shit, this is gonna happen. But I was too excited, and I was trying to tell myself to relax and just let it happen. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to think if I had an experience. I did have travels, and I remembered them, and I wrote them down. But I didn't astral project. You know what I'm saying? I was lucid dreaming. But yeah. So what was that? Sometimes you may get the sense that the vibration is only happening in specific parts of your body. This means that your astral body is being formed in these parts. You may feel that they're floating outside of your regular body. This is nothing to be alarmed about. This happens because those are the parts of your body that are completely relaxed and free of tension. If you carry tension in any part of your body, you may find your astral body stuck at that point when you try to leave. This is why a deep relaxation technique should be employed before you try to exit your body. Distortion of physics. There are some planes where the astral world seems to mimic the physics of the physical body. 1. There are some planes where the astral world seems to mimic the physics of the physical one completely, but this isn't always the case. Most of the time you'll notice things are very odd. You could hold your cell phone, or at least the astral copy of it, and wonder why it feels as light as a piece of paper. You could walk and feel your feet are both on the floor for several seconds longer than usual. You can walk through walls, drop through the floor, jump through the ceiling. You can make it to outer space in 3 seconds. Flat. The rules of the physical world go entirely out the window. my first astral projection experience, I actually astral projected. Like this is my actual only time that I actually can remember I astral projected. So I think it was 2021, and I was in jail, and uh, I was laying down like right after I ate. I was laying down right, and like I had took a like a it's like kind of like you chew tobacco, but it's like a little patch. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little patch, and you put it like right there in front of your tooth, um, and like you just let it sit, and it like gives you a buzz for like an hour. But I remember putting two in on my lip, and then laying down on my jail bed, and like I remember like I was feeling like it was like a feeling of like another body trying to crawl out this one, kind of like whenever a butterfly is like transforming. That's how it felt. But it was like so overwhelming that it was like crazy, and so basically like the tabs that I put in relaxed my body enough to do this. So boom, I got out of my body, and I could see like my bed. You know what I'm saying? I could see my bed where I got out of, and I was looking at all the racks of beds. You know what I'm saying? And I walked down the middle of them like to look in the mirror, and everything was like gloomy. It was kind of like gray, like it lacked emotion. It lacked color. You know what I'm saying? Like it looked like a haunted house. The jail that I was in on the astral plane, and I was walking like I walked over to the mirror, and I couldn't really see in the mirror. But then I walked back through. Everybody was asleep, and I walked to the door, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna walk through the bit." So I walked through the door, and I don't know why the first thing I did, like instead of leaving the jail, I walked to the room where all the guards be, and there was one guard. We called her Bootylicious, and that name explains itself. And she liked me in the physical realm, so like she looked good, you know what I'm saying? So I walked over to her whenever I was in the astral body, and shit, like I remember seeing her sitting down on her chair, and I was like, you know what I'm saying? Shit. So we got into it, you know what I'm saying? We did that, we did this and that, and then boom, whenever I came back to my physical body, it was like I was still able to do it again. So like I did it again, and the second time I did it, I was like I flew. This time I left. Like I walked through the door, and I flew up through the ceiling out of the jail, and I went to like a parking lot, and in this parking lot there were like I went to the second floor, and there were like GTA looking cars. Like it was like green Jeeps. Um, there was like a purple and green Lamborghini, and I hopped in one, and somebody was in it. So we started driving around and shit. And then I remember we got in trouble. Like people were chasing us, trying to get our cars or whatever. So like we were driving through the parking lot, and then I remember getting out of the parking. I remember getting out of the car, and then uh, like on the second floor of the parking lot, like I jumped out through the little window thing, like you know how it's open right on the second floor. It's like some parking lots you have open areas. I jumped out the second floor, and I was just flying, and I was flying to the sky, and I remember it was like the clouds were like pink, and I was like flying through the clouds, but every time I went through a cloud, it was like super dark, and it would sound like, and I would leave the cloud. And I remember like I was doing that for, it was so fun. It felt so good. And then there was a black cloud. And I went into that one. And as soon as I went into it, it was like it was darkness. And I heard like I was traveling. And then boom, I traveled right back to my physical body. And I remember getting up. And I remember it was crazy. Because I remembered all that shit. Um, But whenever I got up, it was time for food, which means it had been like 4 hours. So, um, I remember when we got up, the lady that I was talking about, Bootylicious, she came to the door looking all good, and she was giving us our oatmeal and shit for our food. And she was staring, like, she was looking at me, like, up and down, like, like, she don't never say all that. You know what I'm saying? Usually it's very subtle. Like, she'll, like, look at me. We'll talk here and there. But, nigga, she was looking at me down and up. She was looking, I just had drawers on because, you know what I'm saying? We in jail, we thugging. So I just had drawers on. And she was looking at my John. And she was looking at me. And she was smiling and shit. And she gave me my food. She gave me an extra, I think she gave me an extra portion. And I was like, I wonder if, like, if she's able to tell that we did it on the Astral plane, and like now she cool, like she know we like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember thinking of that shit, but I didn't even write that. I didn't even write that experience down, which means like I really was like on that shit. You feel me? It's embedded in my mind that much. But yeah, mind split. I just said that basically, so like these are like videos for myself, but if anybody watching this, like I just want you to know I've had experiences outside of my body. So it's like I'm really gonna be on a journey. Like we're gonna be reading the book together. We're gonna be doing some of these techniques together. We're gonna be going through results and shit. Like I'm dedicated, you know what I'm saying? Like I know I can, and I'm mastering this. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to master it too, and I want you to be able to see an actual, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want you to just be on YouTube watching these people, like you watching these people like talk about how they having these experiences, but you don't be seeing none of their work. You know what I'm saying? Like, but me, I want you to actually see me doing the work, see what I'm doing, and be able to copy and paste it so that you can have your own experiences. You know what I'm saying? Cause I'm gonna be doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm dedicated. Like you see it in my eyes, bro. Like I'm dedicated. So I want you to be able to copy and paste my moves and, you know what I'm saying, be able to travel and do what thou wilt. Everything is permitted. Mind split. You may notice a feeling of bilocation or duality, where it's like you're in two different bodies at once. But of course, your consciousness is limitless. So it's not just a stretch to entertain the fact that you really can be in two places, at least at the same time. Your body isn't left as an empty shell when you switch your consciousness to the astral. Your consciousness is still there, so while Behind Her Eyes 2021 was an excellent show, its suggestion that your body can be possessed by someone else is completely ludicrous and nothing for you to worry about. I ain't gonna lie, that's cap. Like, I didn't, a true story, this is not gonna be that long. I've invited, like, well, I didn't even invite beings into my body, but like I've had times where like I've been like possessed, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I have a whole area of my life that is like black. I can't remember any of it, but I remember physically doing the shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, one time, bro, I remember going out to the fucking gas station. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I walked out to the gas station, and there was this white lady outside the gas station. And I was like, hey, you trying to suck my dick? She was like, no. I was like, alright, bet. And I walked back in the house. Like, I was not in my body, bruh. But whatever was in my body, it was trying to get to it. You know what I'm saying? But that shit, I know that you could be possessed out of your body to where it's not you outside of your body watching somebody else in your body. Which I've had that too. Like, I've had that too, where I got super drunk. And I remember I had a girlfriend at the time. And I went downstairs, like, to where my girl was. And she had a friend. Her name was Mary. And I went over to Mary, and I started making out with her. I was grabbing her ass and all type of shit. And I was, like, 5 feet away from my girlfriend. Like, me and my girl was just on cool terms, like. But that's how drunk I got. Like, I was really outside my body. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit crazy how I just made out with her best friend in front of her. And everybody just recording and laughing and shit. Yeah, weird ass niggas. But next day, I saw the videos of me doing that shit. I was like, damn. But I just got right back to partying. Like, I was like, yeah, ain't shit. But I do realize that, like, my higher self is funny as hell. And sometimes, like, if some shit ain't gonna benefit me in the long run, I'm gonna do some shit. Or something gonna happen to where I ain't in that position. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that shit was crazy though. But yeah, this mind split phenomenon has led to the assumption that such things as astral watchers and sentinels exist and require you to cast protection spells against them to stay safe. Unfortunately, many don't realize that you're always safe and you have a silver cord that keeps you alive. It connects you to your body and can't be severed. Or you could just call in your elementals. Be like, I call in the elementals of my shield of protection, embedded with the energies of the innocence of my inner child. I say, boom, now you protected. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta do all that shit. Do spells and goddamn northwest, east, south, candles and shit. Except when you die. So there's no one watching and waiting to pounce on your empty body. Get rid of the notion that your body is empty when you go exploring. You have to, because knowing this will help you get better at recalling your journeys. All you need to learn then is how to download the experiences you had in your astral form into your physical brain. Fluctuations in reality. As a new astral projector, you will have to contend with the fluctuations in reality when you've successfully left your body. 1 second you're in your room, and the next you're at the burger shop watching people order cars. A possible reason this happens is a lack of control over the mind. Most people are always thinking. You can probably relate to having steady chatter going through your head day in and day out. You may see something or someone that causes you to think a thought in the astral realm, and that thought manifests before you. Adding to the fluctuation, your subconscious mind demonstrates its power before your very eyes. This portion of your mind is capable of creating the most intricate and impressive of worlds in a matter of seconds. If you're full of fear, then you can bet your subconscious will generate scenarios that will make you call out for your mother. I'm melting. Whenever you try to take a close look at your astral body parts when you're out and about, you will notice that they melt in a matter of seconds. This is especially true when it comes to the hands. Look away and it all feels nice and solid, but look again and you'll notice you're getting stretchy and melting away. Likewise, your fingers can look ridiculously long, or you may have too many of them. Don't worry about any of this. If it bothers you, look away and look back, and they should be okay again. The intriguing thing is that nothing else you look at will melt away as you observe it, just you. While we're on the subject of hands, if you ever find that your environment is too unstable, all you have to do is look at your hands. For some reason, this will send a little shockwave from the astral body to the physical. This helps keep the fluctuations in check and stops you from forgetting you're projecting. All here, all now. I bet not see L Reader in the comments. Don't be surprised if you find yourself in a different period of Earth. Whether past or future, of course, it all exists now. But we experience linear time and not simultaneous time because we live in a world of time and space. You can drop in on the lives of your past and future selves, as well as all other alternate selves that exist. It's a fascinating way to explore choices you may want to make for yourself in your actual life that you may never have considered if you hadn't dropped in on your other lives. Astral projections stories, leaving my body for the first time. It's like, it's getting harder to read just because, like, I've already, like, man, I want to leave my body right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why all these stories, like, it's crazy how all these stories is coming to my mind, like, but I don't even recall memories like that every day, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that they are, though, is just letting me know that I'm ready to leave my body. Like, I can't even talk no more and shit. You know what I'm saying? After being plagued by the memory of my spontaneous projection, I finally decided to look into what happened to me. I was blown away. Then when I discovered that this was something I could deliberately induce, I just knew I had to try. I recall a long time before I had that experience, some kid at school talked about people being able to leave their bodies and travel the world. I thought she was full of it, but it turns out I was wrong. When I discovered that astral projection could be deliberately induced, I had already been learning about lucid dreaming for months and making a point of keeping a dream journal, doing reality checks and so on. So I figured it couldn't be that hard. Intuitively, I knew I'd be able to leave on purpose this time. I lay down and took a nap while intending to leave my body and do my best to keep my mind alert. The next thing I knew, I began to feel intense vibrations coursing through my body. The vibrations were so severe that it felt like I was being electrocuted, but in a way that felt pleasant and grew more and more enjoyable as I relaxed into it. I couldn't believe it. What was going on? Next, I willed my astral body to leave my physical one. At first, it was a bit difficult. Imagine pulling gum out of your hair. That's how it felt, except my astral body was the gum, and my physical one just didn't seem to want to let go. Eventually, I came out of my body and looked around the room. I didn't look at my body because I'd read that I shouldn't do that, or I'd get sucked back in. So I took a few steps toward the door, but then I had to stop because I was suddenly hit with the realization that there's no such thing as death or the finality of it as we think of it. I realized that who we really are is so much more. We're immortal. I am immortal. I also realized that life really is just a game. It's real. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Life is just a game, bruh. Life is just a dream. Confirmation, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Do this right here. Alright. Should last long. We're immortal. I also realized that life really is just a game. It's real, alright, but we take it too far seriously so that we've forgotten all the eternal beings we are. These realizations hit me all at once like a thought block was downloaded into my mind. I know that felt good as hell, nigga. Like, to realize you're immortal, like, nigga, I don't ever die, bro. Yeah, I'm in this physical body, but when I leave this physical body, I'm still alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I really want to like master this shit, cause it's like I feel like I just been so focused on the physical world, even though every day I'm studying on my soul. Like I'm studying my soul and how to remember my life before I was indoctrinated with the idea of death. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to get to that point, and I will get to that point where it's like, bruh, we never die, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. With that, I returned to my body. It was as though an intelligence had informed me telepathically that that was enough for one session. Since that experience, I've grown bolder in life, lost all fear of death, and I have pleasant psychic experiences every day. This singular experience helped me get rid of my depression and anxiety as well. Projecting at age 7. Katie's favorite way to astral project is through lucid dreams. When she first decided to project, she would keep trying to get out of her body, but she failed, so she chose to learn lucid dreaming, doing her best to recall her dreams so she could tell what the dream signs were. Those dream signs would alert her to the fact that she was dreaming and help her achieve lucidity. Soon she successfully projected from a dream. As soon as she realized she was lucid, she generated a falling sensation within herself to turn the lucid dream into an astral projection. The next thing she knew, she went from being in the park to being right back in her bedroom. Except she wasn't in bed. Instead, she was looking at herself in bed. She watched as her physical body stirred, and within her, she felt odd. It was like the physical her was aware of being watched and was feeling a bit of fear. Then intuitively, she decided to communicate to her physical body that it was all well. All well. At that moment, she felt herself both standing next to the bed and lying on it as well. Then, unable to contain her excitement at the sensation of being more than one person, she found herself back in her body awake. Yo, that's crazy. Like, bro, that's crazy. Like, being two people at one time. Like, not on no mental fucking separation. Like, somebody else being in here, like me being aware of us both at the same time. Like you playing them like puppets. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, launched into outer space. I lay still in bed, allowing the vibrations to wash over me, waiting until it all evened out nicely. Then I rolled out of my body and immediately headed out the door, desperate to get away from my sleeping form so I didn't get sucked right back in. It was night when I headed out. The sky was full of stars, a lot clearer and more beautiful than in my normal waking life, where the city lights make the night sky a tad harder to appreciate. I thought about hovering, not too high because I had a fear of heights at the time, but just high enough to look down on the rooftops in my neighborhood and journey on from there. I gave the floor a light tap with my right foot, and the next thing I knew, I was launched up and off the floor just like a rocket. The speed was intense. The fact that the ground, then my neighborhood, then the entire earth was rapidly receding almost sent me into a panic. To bring some calm to my mind, I held on to my wrist and pressed down hard. Then I came to a stop. Just then I looked around and there was the most breathtaking view I had ever seen in my whole life. There were all sorts of stars, planets, moons, and other debris. It looked nothing like the universe I had seen in textbooks, on TV, and the internet. Everything was pulsing with a certain glow. The planets here had beautiful colors that I cannot describe, because they have no earthly equivalent for me to relate them to. Then I got a thought block that made it clear I had traveled beyond a known universe. I had a feeling of oneness with it all, a sense of peace, of being a fuller version of myself. This was incredibly humbling in a good way. I burst into tears because I couldn't stand how beautiful it all was. The sound I heard drove me to levels of ecstasy when I worried I would soon burst and become part of the debris. Unable to keep my emotions in check, I woke up in my room to find my cheeks damp with tears and my heart filled with homesickness. The words left my mouth before their meaning hit me. I want to go back home. Damn. I feel that shit right now. What's the word she used for it? My heart had a homesickness. My heart is filled with homesickness, bro. I want to go back home. Like that feeling, if you never felt that shit, bro, that shit is fucking hard to get over. Like the fact that you know you're not at home right now. Helping from a distance. Brandon's dad was admitted to the hospital for COVID-19. For weeks, no one was allowed to visit him. Then things took a turn for the worse when he got bilateral pneumonia and had a stroke on top of that. Brandon's father was in a very critical condition, battling for his life. Brandon then began to visit his father via the astral plane each night so he wouldn't be alone through that difficult period. When Brandon realized his dad could see him, Brandon telepathically encouraged him to stay strong and hold on. He shared thoughts of love and support and let him know the entire family and all their friends were thinking about him, praying for him, hoping to be able to visit someday soon. Eventually, Brandon's dad was allowed to have guests, and his mother and sister were the first to visit. Brandon's sister called to let him know that their father had just told her Brandon had been visiting every night the whole time. He mentioned that he had seen Brandon usually between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. His mother thought he was insane, but his sister knew Brandon had always astral projected and reminded her of this. Brandon's dad passed on a message to him to please ask the nurse to keep it down on his next visit so he could get some sleep. So on his next astral visit, Brandon sent a message to the nurses via telepathy, asking them to keep it down. In response, one of the nurses went over to where Brandon's dad was and shut his door so the noise wouldn't bother him. So finally, Brandon went to visit his dad in the flesh, and his dad thanked him for helping out with the nurses, as he was able to get a good night's sleep at last. Hell no. You ain't finna do that shit to me. Nigga, if I'm astral projecting, your ass ain't finna goddamn go to the store. You ain't finna tell me to astral project, go to the store, find out how much the goddamn juice is, come back and tell your ass. Nigga, hell nah. That nigga put you on a chore list. A peek into one of my lives. After a session of exploring, I intended to head back into my body and record my experiences. Instead, I found myself in the body of a Roman soldier. I could tell right away that this was me in a past life. While retaining consciousness of my present life, I had a brief moment of amusement when I realized my chest was flatter than it should be, and I had all this muscle and strength. The amusement quickly passed when I took in the scene before me. It was horrific, bloody. I could feel myself as both my present self and a Roman soldier. who I realized was a legatus, a high-ranking Roman officer. The old me watched with a cold sort of enjoyment as my men butchered what was left of the enemy, releasing the sound of metal slicing flesh, of men begging for their lives. The present me felt very sick and disgusted with it all. I began to feel a very uncomfortable energy, almost like an electrical force field that wanted to get me out of the man's body. I gladly allowed myself to get out of there and woke up, thankfully in my own room again. What if the only way to leave that life was like to die again? You know what I'm saying? Like somebody had to kill your head. Oh shit, part 2. Getting ready for the astral plane. Ooh. Chapter 4, overcome your mind's limitations. This is where we're gonna end this episode on page 29. I'm very invested into this book. This might be my last. It might be my last one tonight because I'm about to study some trading. But astral projection for beginners, the astral travel guide out of body to leave your body. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see you next time.